Hi guys, this is Gal from wp.codes, and this is the second tutorial about hooks. And in this tutorial we are going to talk about filters. And filters allow us to manipulate data just like action hooks, but they actually allow us to manipulate existing data, take something, pass it through a filter and return it. And that something is usually a variable. So we take a variable from one function, we pass it through the filter which we made, and then we return it to that function. And it might sound a bit complicated, but it's really not. So let me show you a few examples and then we can get on. So to show you what filters are, I'm going to show you a very simple example first. And in my website I've created a function called wpc echo a string. It's in the content.php file. And I'm just echoing this string and I'm calling it right here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to apply a filter on the output of this function, or to what this function is actually echoing. So instead of just echoing us, it will echo something that might pass through a filter. It doesn't necessarily pass through a filter, but it might. So in order to do this, we are going to do apply filters. And the first thing I need to do, I need to give my filter a name. So I'm just going to call it WPC filter 1. And the second argument is what I want to pass to the filter. So just s. And let's continue. So right now we apply the filter on this variable, but we didn't actually attach the filter to it, which we'll do later. So right now, if I go to my website, it will be exactly the same. So now I'm actually going to show you how a filter really works. So I go to the functions.php, and the first thing I need to do is to use the add filter. So let's use the add filter, and where do I want to add a filter? To wpc filter 1. Now the second thing, I need to give some function, the filter itself. So I haven't created a function yet. So let's create a function real quick. Function. And we'll give this some name. Let's say wpc bold a string. This function will take a string and make it bold. And this function actually gets an argument, so we just call it. It doesn't have to be the same name, so I just call it string. You can't call it the same name as what you want to pass, but it doesn't matter. Just call it string. And what this function will actually do, it will return string with strong above it, around it. So strong string. And let's save and just make sure that the add filter, now we are using this function. Let's save and let's click and let's see what we got. So basically what happened, the function is getting something from filter 1, it's passing it through the filter, and it's adding it strong to the argument which it got. So this is how a filter works. And as I said, it's pretty simple and it's pretty easy to understand. And let's do something with WooCommerce now. So let's open WooCommerce hook reference. So if we look at the hook reference in WooCommerce, we can see that we have a filter hook that is called WooCommerce loop add to cart link. And what I want to do, it's something that is useless, but I just want to show you how it works. I want to make all the add to cart button into an h1 titles. So we're going to use this filter. Let's click on it to see some information. And if you see, you can see that this is how the filter is called, and this is the default data, the variable which we get in our filter. So let's copy this and let's create a filter using the add filter. Now, where do we want to add? What do we want to add? Now, normally we can just do a function here, but I want to show you something really cool. instead of doing a function, we can also use an anonymous function. Now, it's not really the best practice because you won't be able to remove this function from the code, but I just want to show you that you can do it. I mean, you won't be able to use a remove filter, but just to show you that you can do it. So, function, this is an anonymous function, it doesn't have a name, and it starts something, and it's also getting some argument. So let's call this just arg. And what it does, it will do something very similar to what we did before. So it will return h1 arg h1 close, and let's add a semicolon here. And let's go to our website and refresh. And you can see that our add to cart now are h1. So this was a filter with an anonymous function. You can do the same thing with an action hook, obviously. It's not the best practice, but you can do it. So I wanted to show you. So if you ever see this in the code, you can see it as well. By the way, just to make it clear, I can just take this function from here, all of it right now, and let's paste it here and give it some name like blah. And now I will tell it that it has blah, and this will be the same. So now our function is not anonymous, but it still works. So just two ways to do the same thing. Okay guys, so those were filter hooks, and they are very useful, and I will show you them tons of time in other tutorials and in other courses, so stay tuned. And it's very important to me to let you know the basic stuff before we start working with Genesis and advanced custom fields and gravity forms and all those plugins which use a lot of hooks. So it was important to me to teach you this basic stuff. If you have any questions, I'm Gal from wp.codes. My email is gal@wp.codes, and you can also ask me in the comments, feel free, and I'd be happy to answer anything. Alright guys, goodbye.